Hello and welcome to Mostly Minnesota Music Podcast Edition. I'm Ann Tracy. I'm here with my co-host,
Heather Baker.
Yes. And we are excited today because we have a poet. We have Lamonte Lewis. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me. Great
Yeah,
opportunity.
well, you come highly recommended from Louis Blaze, who we had on a couple weeks ago.
Yep, great human being. Really
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So we were thrilled to hear he had another recommendation. So I'm just going to kind of get the ball started and maybe ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself, about your story.
Okay. Well, I was created in heaven. I was born in Chicago and I was raised in Minnesota.
Okay.
I came from a good environment. I have seven oldest brothers. I'm the last one. Well, yeah, seven oldest brothers. I'm the last one. I'm the eighth one, so I'm the baby. And I might come from a negative environment. So I came from a good environment, but the surroundings that I was in, of course, I was just seeing like certain things about. I was seeing certain things like the poor, people living out on the street, and just like feeding into other individuals in the way they express themselves. I moved to Minnesota when I was 4 years old. When I was going to school, um, was really bad at writing really bad at writing, and by the teacher being judging about the way I write and the way I keep my words together. And that way they let me they show me this technique, of course, to have a pencil every time I write, have this pencil on the paper so I can clean my writing and like clean my space. And that didn't really like discourage me because I was so young, so I didn't really understand that much, like why I should feel sad or why I should feel mad whatsoever. I was just always a happy kid, but I always kept writing at the end of the day whatsoever. So then I ended up going, so I ended up being a couple years. I'm going to high school as a freshman, being in theater class by a lovely theater teacher named Miss Spring. And it was a black box theater, so we did like different scenes and different movements, and we did like different topics to talk. Did like different topics. At that time when I was a freshman in high school, I wasn't really like manifesting into like writing. I was still trying to find my former self and still trying to seek what try to seek the gift what God gave gift me with. So my sophomore year, of course, still trying to survive and still trying to make it through my junior year make it through my sophomore year when I was a sophomore. So so by the time when I was a junior, that's when I found my true gift, when I wrote my first poem, uh, The Final Round, which talks about you in the ring and you fight against life. And then like what led me to my gift is when I just started seeking to start like just like listening to other individuals express themselves. And the way they express themselves was poetry, just by them talking. So I decided like, okay, I'm gonna just try to do the same thing. So that's when I came up with Fight Around. I wrote it, of course, I looked over it, and of course I performed it to the class. I asked my teacher, of course, will I be able to perform, my poem, my powerful poem? And she said, yeah, of course. So when I did, I got a lot of applause, got a lot of acknowledgement. That was my first poem. And the crazy thing about it, that I already knew it was going to be a good poem. That's how much faith I had in my poems and how much heart and how much it came from the mind and the body and the soul. So I already knew that was going to be a good poem because I loved it. And by you loving your gifts, nobody else can't say nothing. You already know it's going to be nice. You already know you love something, of course, another person's going to love it too. So just by that, of course, after like writing my first poem, it just led me to write another poem, which called Crumble. Crumble was my second poem. And after writing my second poem, and then that's when I was getting all these opportunities because I was knocking on different doors in school saying, will I be able to perform? I had this good friend, this good former friend that was telling me that I should perform at the open mics, they had in school also
Yeah.
too. So that's when I just started, filling in my name, of course, asking my teacher, will I be able to perform my poems? So like when the time was came when when the opportunity was given to me, I ended up going up on stage and performing my poem Crumble. And like I said, I was getting all these applause while I was up on stage, and I felt the light shine on me. And that's why I knew, yeah, it's my time. It's my time. I'm actually taking advantage of the gift that God gave me with, and I'm keep this thing rolling. And so by that time, I just started writing poems. And like as I kept writing the poems, my writing was getting better. My knowledge was getting my knowledge was getting better. And I'm a type of person that's like, that always wants to know more new stuff, and want to understand, new different type of things, and also manifest, and also be in a whole new particular environment the best way I can. And I also watch like a lot of documentaries, and a lot of true story movies that cause the world like the way it is. And I also read a lot. I read a lot, watch a lot of interviews like with James Baldwin, another poet, but he's
Mm-hmm.
Baldwin. Read a lot of books, Langston Hughes. Learn about Malcolm X and his knowledge. Martin Luther King, of course. I read a little bit of Shakespeare to get my poetry going, because at the time, when I started, adapting more into my poems, I started trying to figure out what's my craft. So my senior year of high school, my last year, that's when I just started like manifesting more into my poems, and start figuring out the flow, the way I want my poetry. So I just started like, just kept writing, kept showing a lot of individuals, and just kept promoting my stuff on social media, and just kept, getting like all these opportunities, all these doors opening for me that was not locked. They were just opening, and to me just go up on stage until I go to any open mic that was not in school. And that drives me to meet new different people, and drives me to learn their knowledge also too. And so by learning their knowledge and their wisdom and their opinions about the world itself, and about human beings also too, I was learning. And I have like a lot of connections, and they're a lot more older than me. And honestly, it's a challenge because they've been in this world way longer than me, of course, and they know like so much. So I find myself like, wow, like this person's smarter than me. He know way more than me. But that's not bad, because it's always good to be with somebody that's like, they know more than you, not in a bad way, but in a good way, because they're teaching you, and you could take that, you could teach the next person too. And that's me. You know, I learn the knowledge, of course, and I write it on a piece of paper. I write it on a piece of paper, and I perform it. And my poems, of course, doesn't just necessarily talk about simple things. It talks about things. It talks about educating things that can get you started, and for the they can feel it from the heart. So like when I talk, and I always think about the different topics, also the things that I go through in life, like with depression. I went through depression. I went through a little bit of suicidal, of course, that brought a lot of family members concerned, and friends concerned too. So I talked about that type of stuff too, and a lot of individuals can feel that, and they can relate on it too. That's why they say that. That's why a lot of individuals say that my poems are like, it's different than other individuals. I'm not saying any other poetries are bad. I love
Right.
all too. But just saying like my poem's different, like the way I speak, and I have my own flow and have my own rhythm with it too. And the way I talk and the way I write it, of course. So I kind of like take the things that I was going through, and like what I see outside in the world, and see human spirits, and I just take it on. I just write it in a notebook. Basically like everything that I go through, you know, and and then so far as manifesting in my gift into writing, I met this one lady, and she wrote a book. And after I told her that, I write poetry, and and then my inspiration is Tupac. Tupac is the reason I write poetry, because I used to listen to him a lot. Not used to, I still listen to him, my mistake. I still listen to him a lot. I listen to him, listen to his music whatsoever. And I just don't bob my head to the beat. I actually listen to him. Even in his interviews, I listen to what he says. I try to understand his point of view. I try to understand his perspective of what he's talking about, and how the world is, how other individuals are, how there's people outside starving that we need to help them with. I mean, that we need to help them anyway, any way that we can. So by just me, listening to him and understanding him, and reading his book that I got from the library in school, his poem book, I was reading his book and stuff too, and that just inspired me to write. And that's what kept me going with writing and everything too. So as I meet this lady, of course, the good thing about it is that Tupac inspired her too. So I'm like, okay, so we have this connection. We have a really beautiful connection, you know. So as I was, giving her my knowledge, and then she was giving me her knowledge too. She was giving me her knowledge on how she created her own book. So by the time after I graduated with high school, after I graduated from high school, which was another blessing what God gave me, to graduate and walk across the stage and make other individuals proud, and I already knew that I was gonna do it. That's how much faith I have for myself, and the actions that may occur, which is positive.
Mhm.
So I already knew. All right, so like when I graduated, I ended up texting, the nice lady. I think her name Bella, of course. Uh, I texted her, and she just told me, and she just guided me the way to how to write my own book.
Yeah.
So then, after that, after manifesting, after writing like 22 poems, of course, and then like having an idea like what I want like my first book to be about. I want it to be about poet, poems. My books is collective of poetry. It talks about depression, talks about how society is, talks about life, talks about the heartache of life. So I published my first book, Heal All My Wounds, which is by me. And I wrote in the back, of course, Tupac once said, I'm not saying I'm gonna rule the world, but I guarantee I will spark the brain that will change the world. I was lucky enough to be one of them. He sparked me. And the way that he sparked me, like I said before, is by understanding him. And basically when he died, of course, a while ago, um, I want to, continue where he left off. And that's, I'm pretty sure, of course, what I know is helping the poor because that's what he talks about. And now a lot of individuals doing that. And I want to take the lead to change the world. And then the way to change the world is to help the poor. So, I published my first book, of course, and I sent it out. And then I was just so amazed at myself because when I read it, I'm like, wow, this individual person is actually creative. It's me. So I was acknowledging my own self. But my mom was proud, my family was proud that I published my first book and stuff too. And so then, yeah, I was just getting more proud, but I still had that ambition and to want to still to spark the youth and spark a lot of individuals. As far as my first book, getting out to the world, of course, publishing it and everything too, it knocked down more doors for me and to get up there and to promote my book and to meet a lot of other individuals. Because when you meet more people, more doors will open because they had the connection. You meet another person that they introduce you into their life, into their world, you know. So so by me publishing my first book, it just gave me the opportunity, of course, to meet other individuals and then perform. So at the time, I still continue to write. I still continue to write. And what's so crazy, like when I write, I promote a poem. So I write like every day. Every day. That's the way for me to relieve myself. And stay calm and like that's the way I express myself. Because I'm a much better. I mean, because I'm a much better writer than I am a talker. I can write more than I'm much more than I can talk. You can understand me more in my writing than much of me talking. And just because it's not no bad thing, it's just like it's just the way I am. It's just the way that God made me, and I'm not ashamed about it. I'm just embracing it. You understand? I'm just embracing it. So I just started writing. I mean, of course, more than I'm like I think I'm ready for my second book. I think I'm ready to write my second book, and I got the title coming. I already had the title in my head as I was thinking of writing my second book. The title was Changing the World, because I always talk about I found even before I found the gift that God gave me with, I already knew, like I already told myself that I want to change the world. Told my mom that I want to change the world. Told my mom that I want to count a lot of money, and then what I want to do with the money is help and then is help people. When I was a kid, I always said I want to help people. It wasn't help the poor because as a kid I didn't really understand them type of things, because I think my mom wasn't, teaching me that type of stuff, but she was teaching me life and everything about how the world is and stuff, but not necessarily about the poor, about people on the street. Even though I do see them when I was a kid, but I really never asked a question like what that person doing because I always, minding my business. But now that I'm older enough and like, I know more knowledge and now I'm very aware of things, I start to question and start to ask myself like, is this what I want to do? And that's something I was going to do. I want to change the world. So at the time when I was thinking of my second book, I already knew the title, which is called Changing the World, because like I said, it's something I want to do. So this year, 2020, because I published my first book last year, and I published my new book, Changing the World, in 2020. So Changing the World, talks about basically different things that's going on in life. Talk a little bit about myself and the way I feel from my heart and my soul. And as you read it, and when what you can take from it is education, liberation, and and the way society is, of course, and how most of us live in an illusion. But we need to understand that we in reality whatsoever. And by changing the world is that we have to change ourselves. So I try to change myself and I try to meditate the best way I can. And when I published my second book, of course, the world was amazed by, and then like when I mean the world was amazed by the people I know that's in the world. They was like much happy for me, and it was supporting me and acknowledging my work. And at the time when I published my second book, I just kept writing, keep writing. Even to this day, as we speak, rewriting. I keep writing, and that's just something like I love to do. And like I told myself, like I told other individuals, like I don't care about the fame whatsoever. I don't care about to be noticed or the recognition, because I always told myself, don't chase the recognition, let the recognition chase you. I already believe in that, don't chase the recognition, let it chase you. Don't do anything stupid so you can be known whatsoever. Just do it because you love it. If you love it, then you won't really care about what people think or if they acknowledge. I mean, you could care, of course, you can say thank you and everything too, but just keep doing what you're doing. So, and then that's what I do. I just keep doing what I'm doing. Of course, I just keep writing, even though I promoted my second book. And like I said, like what I take from writing, I found writing as my escape from reality. I felt writing as my escape to, be in my own world. Because like every time I write, I be in my own world. If you call my name, most likely probably want to ask you. Not no disrespect. It's not that I can't hear you. I'm just focused. When I focus, it's like no disrespect. It's like when I'm focused, I can't really hear you because I'm focused on what I'm writing about. Because it's not me that's talking. It's not me that's expressing. It's from my soul. And then like when your soul speaks, of course, and then like when you're writing from your soul, you can't really hear anything because it's you. You know, understand? It's you. It's and then it's from the heart. And so like with my poems and stuff too, it's basically just like a daily habit for me. Like when I write my poems, it's that's how I wouldn't like put it on, social media. I'll just write it and just go to the next page and write it. And not to be, cocky whatsoever or anything, but I can write about 4 or 5 poems in a day. And that's another gift that God gave me with because I have an open mind and an open world. That I see things, of course, I look at it and I think to myself, why is it like this? I question myself. Other individuals should question themselves why certain things are like the way it is. And that's what I do. I take it, I see things, and then I feel things, of course. I observe things, and I think about it and express it and turn it around and try to express it poetically. And then I just come to writing, and the way I write things, I just take it from the world itself. So like when I write, I don't really like it's just a daily habit for me. I write. It's like a little kid playing video games. When he come home from school, or get done with school, he'll play video games or play with toys, because that's his habit. My habit is when I come home from work, I write poems. Don't really care of the fame because I actually found something that will help me through life. If I'm be upset, I can write poems. I found something that's gonna help me, that's gonna make me escape from the dark back into the light. Because I do get depressed. And it's not that me being in the dark, it's my soul is in the dark. Then like when my soul is in the dark, it's all the knowledge and everything that's gifted is running around my mind. But then like when I come out, but then like when like God blessed me again by the light being into my soul and like my soul escaped from the darkness. I start to feel like much better and everything because I'm escaping from the darkness whatsoever. And like my mission, of course, is to write the poem and to like inspire a lot of other individuals, and of course, and to heal their wounds that tend to needs to be healed. A lot of individuals, need healing wounds. So that's my mission. And my mission, of course, is to help the poor, because like I have a good heart. That's something about me. I have a good heart, and I have a good heart, and I always wanted to help people. And that's so far as having a good heart is that like if we're walking, and this is to anybody, I'll grab the door. If you're walking behind me, I'll hold the door for you. Like I have like a really good heart, and it's like it's not cause I'm doing it. It's just a daily. It's just a habit, and it's a good habit. What I'm proud of. It's a habit. It's a choice that I want to do, and it's like none can bounce that off whatsoever. And I am an entrepreneur, and I have a product called Backjack, of course, too. So I've been working on the Backjack ever since I was a junior in high school, about 17 years old. And it's produced by Grape, which is a company of mine. And also my poem books is produced by Grape too. And what Grape stands for greatness, who represents all people equally. And it's a company, of course, I'm still trying to build up to this day. I'm 21 years old. And like to say, by taking this entrepreneurial role, it is hard, and then what inspired me to do that is reading up on Bill Gates and how he created Microsoft and his software, and Steve Jobs, how he created Apple. And I'm like, wow, okay. Steve Jobs got a fruit, which is Apple. Bill Gates got a
Oh,
company,
very
which.
good.
Oh,
So what I'm gonna do, of course, I'm going to make my company. I'm gonna call it Grape, but not just Grape. I have an acronym on how to do it, and which is greatness represents all people equally.
Nice.
Well, I tell a lot of individuals that they look at me, they smile, and their mind is blown because like, wow, you're a smart individual. How can you come up with that? It's just the gift that God gave me with, and what God gave me is the intelligence and the knowledge, and to catch on things real fast, and to learn. And like things that like that I love doing and the things I'm into is like which other individuals like kids or like younger people they probably consider it boring, but I love to read. Like I said, I love to read. I love to write on a daily basis. I love to I love to like listen to documentaries and stuff like that. Like to listen to other individual knowledge, and not a lot of individuals like that. They consider it boring whatsoever. Not everyone, but little kids wise and stuff like that. But I love that. I love to do that, and I love to see that, and I love to just listen to their knowledge, and that's how kind of like I learned the knowledge and the wisdom by just listening on Malcolm X and listening on James Baldwin, Tupac, just by listening to all of them, it just like it just guides me to like understand to like what I want to do in my life and like understand like how to change the world, and by and then by Tupac sparking me, I know that I can spark another individual. If I can spark one, I can spark two. If I can spark two, I can spark three. If I can spark three, I can spark four. And if I know if I can spark four, I know that five would be up to six, and six would be up to seven, and seven would be up to heaven. So I know for a fact that, after sparking them seven individuals, I know I got something on my plate that I can spark a million individuals, and I'm only 21 years old. And everybody is like so amazed by me, like you're 21 years old and you're a second published author, you got this other things going because I'm an activist too. I'm an activist and I'm a poet. I'm a preacher poet. Like when I preach poetically. For my book, of course, too. So it's just amazed people by like all the stuff that I got going on. I got going on. And I do have the supporters with me, and to thank them, of course, but basically, yeah, so I just got started doing that from school and to just sticking in like from school, finding the gift that God gave me with and just sticking to it. And by me sticking to it, and then like by me sticking to it, everything was just coming because of the hard work. And then when I found out, and then like when I found out, like when I found like the hard work, like the hard work and like I'm in, and like how like ambition I'm in is just like it just drives me to just keep going. And like I always became humble. Always became humble, and I always was a humble. I am a humble person. What I'm gonna say, I am a humble person. So by like having that humble in my heart into my human soul, it's just like this. It just makes me where I'm at because I always have faith and I already know what I'm gonna do, and I always think ahead of things before I do things. Of course, too. And I always think of things before I do stuff. And like I said, I have the faith, and I know that like nothing can stop me. Only person can stop me is death. But till then, my books and my words from my mouth and from my heart and from my soul will live forever. You understand? So
Yeah.
you know, basically, yeah, I'm a poet. I'm a
Yeah.
leader. I'm a king.
You're you're a poet, and you're obviously a natural learner with a natural quest for learning. But can I ask, where did you go to high school?
Washburn.
Washburn. How it seems not everybody walks away from high school with the experience that you've had. And it and as I said, part of it is probably that natural learning, but I think also you found a way to make it valuable for you. If you had to give advice to somebody who's just in high school right now, what advice would you give to them in terms of making the most of that opportunity? Because you can look at high school as an opportunity, or you can look at it as a pain in the neck. And you took it as an opportunity.
Right. Well, well, like in high school, it will always be a pain because you have to balance with, schoolwork and then what you want to do in life. But you got to find a way to balance it because what I was going through, I had my first job when I was 16, still working at Dairy. I had my first job at 16, which is Dairy Queen. I'm still working there. I'm 21. I've been there for 4 years. So I had my job. Every time I had my job, I had my job, I had my invention, I had my poems, and I had my schoolwork. So it's not easy at all when you're dealing with
No,
things. So the best advice I could say is try to balance. Because at the time I was not balancing, and that's what led me to exhaustion from my mind, and, tired and depressed because things wasn't going right the way I wanted to go. The timing wasn't going right. Like a lot of people was not really looking at my poems and stuff like that. And when I'm on my schoolwork, I'm not really working on my poems. And I was getting a couple of advice from a lot of individuals was saying, it's okay, focus on one thing, focus on one thing, focus on one thing. So, and that's what I did. I kind of took a break from my poetry, of course, too. And I just started working on my schoolwork also, too. But I actually found the balance with it. The balance I found, of course, if I can get my schoolwork done and everything, get my schoolwork done, stay after school, learn and everything, too. Then I can work on my poetry later on because, my goal is to finish high school. That was always my goal. So I'm like, okay, put things to a side first. My first priority is to get up in the morning, brush my teeth, wash my face, and get on the bus and go to school, listen to the teachers, be educated, and then work on my classwork and everything, and work on my homework after school. After that, get home, get ready for work. But and then that's the thing. When you have work after school, of course, I wouldn't consider to because like when you get off work, you're gonna be tired and everything. You don't want to, rush your body or keep, wasting your body and all your energy. And that's what I did. Not consider everybody should do that, but that's just what I did because, like I said, the ambition I had. Cause like there was a time to where I'll have school, and then after school I'll go to work, and for like 5 to 10, and I get off work and I don't go to sleep. I'll write poetry. Of course, yeah, I'll be tired, I'll be tired, but then I just kept doing the same thing because of ambition. But I learned how to balance. I learned how to balance because at the time when I was doing that, I was waking up, pretty late for school, going to school pretty late and stuff too, being tired in class. So I recommend not to do that. That's the advice I'm gonna give to a lot of individuals not to do that. Is to find a form of balance and to put things aside. Even though it is important to you, even though the gift that you found is important to you as so far as writing or anything outside of school, put that to the side until you finish one thing. And one thing is to graduate high school. Once you graduate, of course, a lot of a lot of doors will be open. Of course, you gotta go to college too. But like, always, graduate high school, finish high school. So, put things aside, of course, and just work and then just focus on one thing. And the most important thing is high school. And that's what my mom was telling me. My friends and stuff too was telling me too. Because like I said, I was getting through sad and everything, getting stressed out because all this stuff was going for me. Because I was dealing with all this stuff and I had so much stuff weighing on me, like a bag of rocks, and I was carrying it.
mhm.
They always label greatness. They always label, dream. They always labeled, love, happiness. All of that was labeled, but I had to, let it go and just like have one rock in my back, and that was graduating. So I let everything go just for like a little bit. But at the time, of course, when I was in class, I was writing poetry in the class while the teacher was talking, of course. But don't do that. Don't have to pay attention. But I was doing it, of course, because like I said, the ambition. And some people have ambition, a totally different way. Some people can, still listen and not do poetry, of course, or not do anything. They after school, then do their stuff. Me, the way I do, I just do it. I just did it totally different. Like I said, I don't recommend a lot of individuals doing that. And they should just pay attention to the teacher and to, and to learning and everything too, and getting the classwork done and everything. So yeah, so basically the advice, like I said, I would give is to balance it. Let like one thing go, focus on one thing, focus on one thing. You won't get too exhausted. You won't exhaust your brain. You won't exhaust your soul. You won't exhaust your heart.
It's good advice. It's good advice. That ability to focus that you have is amazing. I think, and it's particularly amazing. It's usually people grow into that. Usually, it takes people longer than 21 years to grow into that. I'll
Yeah.
put it that way. So that's very impressive. You're Hey, could I ask a favor? Would you ever read us some of your poetry?
Yes, of course.
I would love to hear some of it. It's funny because you say that you write better than you speak, and but you're very eloquent to speak as well. But so I'm excited to hear. I've read some of your poetry, but I'm excited to hear you read it.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Thank you for the opportunity, most definitely. Okay. So there's a poem called "What I Thought Was True." This is from Heal All My Wounds, my first book. Daily living inside my room, lights above me give me great ideas. Pillows safe from my head, covers on my bed, laying thinking ahead of time, sparking intelligent minds. Poems I diagnosed it, hold on one moment. Crumble, poverty, women, black on black crime, and once upon a time, now what I thought was true. Equal people will listen to what is real in society. What's inside of me is my reddish heart that beats, that never lies to me. What was true? What do you mean? What was true? That people listening to the truth. So that's my first poem for Heal All My Wounds. I'd like to share another poem from my second book, Changing the World. That's totally good.
Please.
So the poem that I want to do is Leave the Past Behind. Once you kill your past, become a ghost. Knowing every mistake you make, it will help you grow. Women leaving an abusive relationship, baby girl, you ain't wrong. Know your worth. You took too much damage from a man expressing your emotions, understanding that it hurts. Women shall not be beat. They already have a heart that already beats. Women that stand strong with their feet, suffering a whole lot of situation, even when they're abused, they bleed. They are human beings just like us. Women are strong and beautiful with passion, beautiful minds that no one can imagine. Because of their minds, they are confused. Their trust is like sand, gone with the wind and will never come again. Listen, a man that beats a woman is no man. So many strong women that have expanded, past become a ghost, their future never end, leaving the past behind.
Nice.
Thank you so much.
Nice. I mean, you draw a lot from the idea of listening
Yes.
and pay attention, which is amazing.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah. When did you publish Changing the World? I mean, this year, but what month?
What my it's around something I should know. Feel so bad. I published it around like in July. I published
In
it around July.
I guess the real question is whether you would have published it before or after some of the civil unrest after the murder of George Floyd, and how that impacted what you're writing and what you're doing. And
yeah. Well, basically, cause like when I woke up, cause like when I heard about the George Floyd thing, of course, is I was up at I was up at 2 a.m. and I was scrolling through my newsfeed on social media, and I saw this one individual shared the post of George Floyd's video, and I watched the video, of course, and it made me sad. It made me sad and it made me sad and angry. It made me sad and angry and made me like just like really like it made me sad and angry, and just by looking at it of how like the police was what he was doing to George Floyd, and then at the time it kind of like changed my perception and changed the way how the world is, and try to change my way that I write my poems now. Cause like in a way like after I watched the video, of course, and the riots that was going on, and that I was participating, of course, as going out there, witnessing and like giving my 2 cents about and then and then expressing what's going on about the way the police is. It kind of changed like the way like I write my poems now, like political way, and about and then becoming an activist, and and then like the way like it changed it. It was like I'll like make it preach, and I'll talk about like police brutality now in my poems, because before then I was talking about life, talk about life, depression whatsoever. But now like right there, like after seeing that video, it made me think about like I need to like add like a little more deep into my poems, which be educational for other individuals and the youth. So then like after that I just started like changing like I'm changing my old vibe, like changing my own vibe and changing like the way like I write my poems into like where activists would write their poems, or way like I'm like speak. The way like Malcolm X would speak, of course, things that he would say, things that, and that's what kind of made me start like listening to Malcolm X more and Martin Luther King, a lot of, a lot of other, and other civil rights leaders too. And by like learning their knowledge and everything too, that would kind of like made me like change up my poems and stuff and like the topics I write about now. Cause like now, like after George Floyd, 'cause, like the way I took from it was like I said, made me very sad. And it made me sad, like, like us people that we're not safe, you know, like we're not safe at all. And and it's like we can't walk down the street, because they think, because they look at us as targets. And then we'll that we're targets, we feel like that we're targets, we don't feel free. We may be free, physically, but we're not free mentally whatsoever. You know, you can't go inside somewhere thinking the person would judge whatsoever. You know, now we have people, that get stopped by the police, of course. Everybody just afraid now. You can't just, oh, police stopped us, you know what I mean? Just go check the stuff. They're afraid that, even if they put their hands on the steering wheel, they still gonna get shot. That's what people think and they're afraid of, because how all this chaos stuff going on and how the police is and how the system is too. How, and how the system works, how the government's corrupt too. And then, after all of that, it made a lot of individuals angry with where like it called caused the world to be in war. And then like when I said about the world being in war, about people being outside destroying everything and looting and stuff like that too, and burning, the station down, and like having like all these riots and stuff too, because enough is enough. And you think about it, a lot of individuals was doing peace before, but found out that the peace wasn't working. So now it's time for the violence, because they're going to hear the violence, and that's what mankind was doing, was the violence and everything too. And then it just like by me just looking at that, just witnessing all the looting, witnessing all the individuals, express themselves the way they express it, and just like waking up every morning watching the news and showing my mom and my brothers, how George Floyd, was being like, was being in a position a certain way he was. It took my mom and my brothers in a way of being sad, in a negative mindset too, not in a bad way, but in a like bad way, like sad. They were sad and everything. And then after that, it just like the world just got out of control, but like not out of control in a bad way. It's like because it was like enough is enough. And then like when we was doing peace, of course, peaceful protests and everything, uh nobody was hearing us. We thought that they was, but they was not. They was
Right.
not hearing us at all. And honestly, after that, I don't feel safe even to this day. But like I said, God got me, and why God got me is that I walk with my 2 feet, and it's not me walking with my 2 feet; it's that God walking with me. I mean, God carrying me. But but I still am afraid, of course, of the police, of course, too, because you never know when he gonna look at you, go take out his gun, he's gonna shoot you just because you're black. I am a black man. No, I was in a store, of course. I was in Walgreens, of course, getting my mom prescriptions. One guy was following me because he thought I was gonna steal something, and like I don't do that. So by you just judging me, of course, and I take that as you judging me, and not as so first you just saying it, but just like you looking at me and following me. Well, I could probably take that you have other individuals probably still in here, but I wasn't taking it like that, of course, because I'm not that type of person. But he looked at me, of course, and he kept following me. It was made me very uncomfortable whatsoever, and didn't like that, of course. So
Oh,
even to this day, I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe whatsoever. If you ever get stopped by police, I always feel that he go get the police go get angry and probably shoot, because they see us as targets. They see us as criminals whatsoever, but we're all not. You know, and by leading that example is just to educate what's going on. It's to educate. It's to educate what's going on, even if it's brutal honesty. If it's as long as it's honest, it's learning the truth and reality. And then like with the whole the George Floyd thing, of course too, and that's why I said like my poetry. I changed the topics of my poems. I started talking about like what's real, what's going on,
mm,
about how and like way the police is, the way the system is, the way the government is, and how they're all working together. Is that they're not putting the right people that needs to be in jail. That they're not, putting the police in jail quick enough, and have us like understand that if it was a black person that did something, they'd be in jail just like that. But like with a white person, of course, it don't be like that. It's like trial dates, bail and everything
Yeah.
too. And like they're all working together. It's like in a circle, 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 circle. But I guess, they look at us as like I said, they look at us as target. They look at us as like we're the enemies whatsoever, but we're not, you know because I am a black man and I'm trying to lead an example of greatness, like freedom to the righteousness of having things that I want. But when I'm trying to educate and teach people of like what's going on. So that George Floyd thing, so George Floyd, like, what happened, it gave an opportunity to, to teach people like what police can do to you. Teach the black kids, the black youth, and then the community of like what the police can do, and and then this is the world, this is life, this is how it is, this is what we go through. Even back then, before we was in handcuffs, we was in chains. Before we was in handcuffs, we was in chains. That was even way more sad. But I mean, it's sad now. But we was in chains before we was in handcuffs. We was getting whipped and everything. Our ancestors was, and now we're getting killed. That's why I made the poem. I did call it uh police I call it police brutality. And it talks about a white cop killing a black an African American black person. But and then it made me realize, understand that our death certificate being approved quickly, not from God, from another person. Our death certificate is being signed by an individual with the gun, and that's sad. And that's sad that we got to think something like that. And it's sad to think that our death certificate will soon be signed. But the thing about it is not signed by God, because God time was going to die. And the thing about it is not signed by him, it's signed by the next person that shoots us and kills us. It's signed by a racist cop that think that, they just kill us and get away with it and make up some line that we did this and that we did that. But in all reality, and then seeing the video, George Floyd didn't do nothing wrong. He was saying, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I want my mom. I want my mom. I can't breathe. And you still have your knee on his neck. And after that, you put him in a stretcher, put him in an ambulance, still throw him in there, just like that, and think it's okay. Think that's okay and it's not okay. What's okay, crazy after George Floyd was getting more worse. Breonna Taylor go just walk in there and go shoot her, and she was going to become a cop. And think that all this is okay. And think that we just supposed to just like bear with it and just walk free away from it. No, because at a time, it will come in a time, this is what Malcolm X said, you'll come a time to where you attack one black person, you're attacking all black person. If you attack one black man, you're attacking all black men. You attack one black woman, you're attacking all black women. And that's what I take from it, and that's where I change the topic for my poem. It's us to reunite. It's us to fight back, not in a negative way, but fight back not to the violence, but fight back in a smart way, of course. But by us like living in the world, and by us kind of like not having the knowledge, and then like what we was not taught in school, we take it out as looting and destroying everything. Of course, because we're angry whatsoever. And that's totally fine. No, we're angry and everything too, but we have to destroy the system with our minds, of course, and that's what Malcolm X wanted, and that's why he was preaching and everything too, and like the way that we have to do things, of course. And that's just my form of knowledge, because it made me sad, of course, and just seeing like what's going on about how our people, shot dead every day, and we're not getting the justice we deserve. We're not getting the justice as we deserve, and then it makes you just look like, like, are we really that bad? Us black people, we're not bad people. We're not. We're good people. We're the gifts that God gave us in the world. So just seeing a video and just listening to him saying, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. That like just set a trend right there. And those last words basically, that he can't breathe. The officer just standing right there, just still on his neck, brought pain into my heart, brought pain to everybody's hearts. And what made me more upset, of course, that other people that was right there wasn't really doing nothing about it. But of course, they don't want to risk getting shot. They come try to stop the car, you know. But how much my people, of course, you know, I'll do anything for them to keep them alive because how much I love them, how much I stand with them, and how much and how much I want us to be free and to know how strong we are. And that's what we need to recognize as us black people. We gotta recognize who we are in this world. What role do we play? We gotta recognize that we shouldn't attack each other. We shouldn't attack our own kind. We shouldn't attack anybody, honestly. But you know, when it comes to time to where there's one black person being attacked, you're attacking all. You'll find yourself in that way. So honestly, yeah, it was just really sad, and that's what kind of like made me like change my mindset and things, and like and my topics of my poem to like not just talks about not just talk about depression, even though I still do, but talk about different things, of course, and to like express. So that's what kind of like made me after George Floyd incident, of course, it kind of changed my momentum in the way I write poems and stuff too, and then the way I speak it now because I used to just like speak poems, of course, just by reading it, just by saying it poetically. But now I preach it as having a firm, loud voice, set with a tone. It made me learn more. It made me like manifest more to different other activists and maybe become an activist because I was out there, of course, too, in the riots, of course. Getting shot with pellets. We got
Mhm.
shot. I got shot 2 times. Uh, in the leg and shot one in the eye. Then 2 days later, I got arrested for curfew. And now the experience I had in the system, of course, just to like a couple hours was not, was not good at all. Just seeing people in there, of course, too, and an inmate getting attacked by police because he wasn't being cooperative. You know, he was getting hit and everything too, and to just like having the phone, you have to call your parents or like call like one of your family members to bail you out whatsoever, and just made me think like, dang, like the experience is real. All this is real, and what's real is that, and then like I already knew it was real was when the looting was going on, when the riot was going on, when
Yeah.
I was out seeing it, but just taking place and like deep into it is getting arrested and getting shot. Is going up to the police while he's standing right there with his gun, and then we ain't doing what he say do because we're so fed up because you killed our people. We're not gonna just stand right there. We just take it and just walk back and walk away. You kill one of our people. What do you think we're supposed to do? Let that slide? No. So of course we paid the consequences. I'm getting shot, of course too. But I still stayed strong. Set back up and healed. Healed the wounds. Disappeared away. You know, maybe depressed a little bit because it's like maybe depressed because because it's like like is this the end for me? Like my true gift? And to like because after that I formed the writer's block because so much was in my head. I was lost in my
Mm.
thoughts because because like a lot of stuff was going on. I was lost in my thoughts, and I had a writer's block, and I was getting depressed because now I'm shot. Now I'm in the bed, injured, can't go back out there for my people.
Yeah.
And then a lot of individuals was telling me, a former one of my one of my partners, one of my friends, a good co-worker at Dairy Queen. And he's like a father figure to me, and he was telling me, like your power is your poems. Your power is your poem. Your pen, your poetic pen.
Yeah.
Your power is writing. You don't have to go out there every day and just to destroy things. You don't have to go out there every day and to just try to express yourself. The way you do it is to write. It's to write how you feel. And at the time I started doing that, I started writing how I feel. And the opportunity came to where open mics open mics was coming. And I started, expressing expressing. And this is where the change of like poems coming from. I started like writing. I started writing. I started writing about Black liberation. Becoming a leader. You attack one Black man, you attack all Black men. I started writing them type of stuff, and I started performing them. And I found my craft, and then that was my craft of like crafting like my poems. And the thought of that, into learning that, of course, I just started manifesting more into that, and start being more observing of what's going on in the world, knowing that we have police brutality, having that, we're getting attacked every single day. And honestly, we probably don't even know. You'd be show up on the news and be surprised
Right.
until, what's so crazy, a lot of individuals were surprised that it happened to George Floyd because like most of us live in Minneapolis. Some of them be like, wow, it's happened down the street. Wow, it happened like blocks. Like and people say, if I was out, we put a stop into it and stuff like that. And this is another thing. So a lot of people say they do things, but honestly to God, how would you know if you do it if you was there actually? If you was in the current situation, if you're gonna do
Yeah.
that. A lot of people can really say, a lot of people can say that they're gonna do this just because they wasn't close to the situation. But at the situation, you will feel a totally different way because you're in the situation. So honestly, the guy, if a person would say, like, I mean, if a person says something like, if I was able to put a stop into that, versus if he was actually there,
Yeah.
he that because he wasn't. I mean, cause like he wouldn't risk being shot. So if you think about it, all the talk, of course, about us helping our people and everything too. You know, God will give you an opportunity, like if you're really down for it. Like, okay, you see this Black man right there getting harassed and everything, getting beat up. Now it's your chance to go up there and help him. And then most of us are not gonna do that because we care about ourselves, and nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, like, we care about ourselves. We care about ourselves. We care about our life, too. We don't want to be shot dead whatsoever, and be selfish enough having our cry and having our and then I'm having and then having our mom to ask God, why you take my son away from me? We don't want that whatsoever. So the world we live in is difficult. The way we have to live is difficult. The way we have to embrace things and manifest things is difficult, sad, difficult. The way we have to learn. Life is like chess. Life is like a puzzle. We got to put them in the right places whatsoever. Life is like life is no game. Life is no game. You cannot reset. You cannot start over. When your time has come, your time has come. You're on a mission. You have to complete the mission. Because in the game, when you fail a mission, you can start it. But in reality, in life, in the world itself, when you're on a mission, you can't fail. The mission is we live life every day. The mission is get up in the morning and get through life. That's the mission. And you know, that's only and that's only if God wants us to live another day. You know, we can say that we're gonna live another. We can say that we're gonna live another day, but we're not promised. All up to God, so ever. You know what I mean? It's all up to God. But like, what we can take from it, though, what we can take is that we could take anything that we want to do, which is happiness, of course, and like we could take like happiness. We could take being in another environment, and by being in another environment and just listen to other individuals speaking with happiness and laughter, you won't be thinking about tomorrow. You won't be thinking about tomorrow. You think about the present moment. And that's what shine by me, to think about the present moment. It's think about every day, because like what I take from all the killing that's going on about how our people been killed, about how just people were just like dying, like and also from this COVID too. We have to understand that you only live once. You gotta be happy because because anything can happen. Death can come upon you at any second. Your death certificate can be signed at any moment. You can't sign. I mean, you can sign it yourself, but you shouldn't do that.
Right.
You should do that because that's what suicide will come in. You shouldn't sign your own death certificate, which will be more sad on your end, and sad on the family end, and sad that anybody that don't know you in. Because you never know, if you take your own life, you never know, in a million years you probably come across a person that probably would have helped you succeed in life. And not succeed as financially, succeed of happiness. Succeed as putting a smile on your face, you know,
Yeah.
having a light into someone's soul. So even though we're not promised to live another day, but we also have to be thankful to be woke up in the morning and to be present and to be where we at. You know, bless the poor, bless, bless and hope that all people not getting killed, not getting shot dead on the street, leaving on the street where on video cameras can see their bodies on the floor while he's not being picked up. He just lay right there. That's what happened to Mike Brown. Mike Brown got shot on the street. They just had him right there on the floor.
Yeah.
Just had him right there on the floor. Didn't do nothing. Just had him right there. Then put him. They didn't even think about covering him up. Had him right there on the floor. But then start making these false statements that he robbed the store, he punched somebody up and this and that and that and this, even though it's a video camera whatsoever. But all this type of stuff, they try to make him out the bad person. They said the same thing with George Floyd. Talking about he had COVID. He had this one thing in his mouth. I forgot what it
Yeah.
was, but in his mouth. Trying to make up excuse and make it seem like he was a bad person. He was a he was excuse my language whatsoever, but he was a porn star. They like that and that. They make him all these excuses and everything, but you killed an innocent black man that didn't do anything wrong. So now they didn't do anything wrong, and it was a clean video. You killed them clean just like that for no reason. What you thought was gonna happen? You think we're not gonna retaliate? You think we're not gonna say enough is enough? And that was called an evolution. And I was a part of evolution at the age of 20. My birthday just passed. I'm 21, but the thing happened before my birthday, so I was part of the resolution. And it was crazy just seeing that, and experiencing that. And that was only the saying, but my heart was broken from the past of George Floyd, and of the past of George Floyd, and to let everybody know, wasn't doing it because of fame, was not doing this because it was an opportunity to get my name out there. Because at the time I was caring less about my name. I was caring less of just me. I wanted I wanted people to see the message. I want people to be well educated. Like, this can happen to you. Any of our people, this can happen, and this just happened to our one of our brothers, and it can't happen to me. It can't happen to anybody. But bless the God, it don't. You know, we knock on wood. We get on our knees to pray. We pray that we live another day. We pray to have 2 feet. 2 feet and 2 legs. Pray to have a mouth that speaks.
Yeah.
An ear to listen and a mind to think and a mind to prosper whatsoever. You know. So basically, yeah, I just started. Just after that, it just like kind of like changed like the way like I speak my poems and write my poems. Was after the George Floyd, and that's the way I was feeling.
Well, I think your role in this is to be the narrator, to be the bard, to tell the story.
Yes.
I think that is the most powerful thing. I mean, it's and part of that is being on the front lines at sometimes, and I've gone to I tweet for the Women's March, so I'm often on the front lines too. But I kind of know my role is not, after a certain time, I got kids your age. I don't need to be on the front line after a certain hour. You know what I mean? And to recognize that the best that I can do is to tell the story, and you've got to keep body and soul together to tell the story, because that's where you're most powerful, because you are so eloquent. In spoken and in written, and that's where you're going to reach the most people and affect the most change. I think affect the most change, as you say, in changing the world. You change the world. That's your goal, and that's what you're doing, and you're doing an awesome job of it. I mean, that's your gift that you're thankfully sharing with the rest of us.
Yeah, most definitely. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that acknowledgement and that positive statement for you. And another thing, of course, by just changing the world, of course, and just like seeing the looting and everything, and business is getting destroyed and everything, and people losing their jobs. So I mean, of course, too, I take accountable in that also too, because like I said, I was in there doing the looting, and we're likely to apologize, about that stuff too. And also the goal is to, of course, of changing the world, is changing myself and changing the narratives of things, and also more importantly into helping the poor, helping the poor and giving back to the poor, even though if it's a few dollars whatsoever, I'm still taking part of helping the community out. Even if it's a dollar or two, you still taking part. Don't feel bad that you only have a dollar to give to the poor. Anything helps the poor. A dollar can buy something. You know what I mean? It could. I don't know what it. I don't know what it would, but like, it's
Well,
a
it's funny. It's hard in the COVID world because it used to be that a dollar would at least buy you a coffee someplace where you could sit and be warm. A dollar
right.
used to at least get you a token onto the train where you could be overnight. Now, but it'll get you something. I don't, in the COVID world, I don't know what it gets you as much, but it'll get you to the next person. It'll get you to the next, if everybody offers what they can, that's how we're all gonna lift up, I think.
Right. Yes. 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 And yeah. And then that's another road that I take in this world of changing the world is to helping the poor. Is to giving money the best way I can back to the poor, with no organization by anybody. Wouldn't care less about the fame of giving the poor. I mean, of giving money to the poor. Don't recall, once a person recording me giving money to the poor whatsoever, but I do that. And that's like a daily routine for me every time I get paid. Is like every time I get paid, I'll take out 30 or $20, of course, and I'll walk past and then I'll get on the bus, of course, and I'll take the time of my day and I'll get off the bus and I'll go back to like the bridges and everything too. And I'll see them begging for money and I'll always give them, 20. Another person run past another person's poor. I give them 20 also too. And they all running. Cause one time before Thanksgiving, me and my brother, we was in a car. And then like we was passing, like we was going up the bridge, of course. And it was like four people living in destitute. They were living in destitute, of course. And we had money. I had like $6 in ones. And I told my brother, stop right here and pass them out. One one person across the street. Look, he ran past, gave him the money. After that, another poor person's going through destitute. He came, he ran past, he ran across the street. Good thing he didn't get hit. He ran across the street. I gave him the money. Another person ran, gave him the money. At that time, from a bird's eye point of view, it's just like, you know, they all united in one, being helped, you know? So it made me that idea to like, I want to do that, not for the fame, not because I want to just be blessed by God. It's just something. Cause I'm already blessed. I already have a roof over my head. I already have something to be thankful for, and not a lot of individuals are thankful for that. This is how human beings are. Need to recognize and reconcile for themselves too. So it made me understand the mission I want to have is to help the poor the best way I can like that. Because after I did that, it made me feel a whole much better because I'm helping out the poor, giving all dollars, and they all came up to the car. You know, all of them came up. And like I said, from a bird's eye, it seemed like
Yeah.
more than 6 people. I mean, it looked like more than just 6 people. I bet. And then just being a visionary, I know how I can help the poor. I know that if I give out money, of course, it will help them. A lot of people will come, and not just people that's not living to the poor, but the people that's poor will come and I can help them out and bring a smile on their face. And that's where I'm gonna help my community out, and that's where I'm gonna change the world. And that's the way that and I stick with that. I stick with that to my heart. And that's why I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna continue doing it, and that's every time I get paid. Then that's every time I get paid. I always take money out and I give it to the poor. And I always do that. And honestly, I never told anybody that. So y'all are the two first people to know that.
I think that's awesome. That's
Yeah, and that's what I do. I do that, and like I said, I always want to help people, and I have a good heart. A lot of people say good heart and stuff too, and that is a good heart. But I'm on a mission. The mission, of course, is to help the poor. So,
nice. Nice. You are a man of many gifts that you are willing to share, which is amazing. It's
thank you so much.
absolutely amazing. Yes, yes. Well, I'm delighted to have had this opportunity to talk to you. And for folks who are listening, I'm going to ask you again you've got the two books, the Heal All My Wounds and Changing the World. Where can folks find those?
Okay, well, I'm not on no website yet, but I am currently, still trying to put my stuff like in different stores. So, my book is is at this one store called the Creative Space, which is I think 218 West Downtown St. Paul. That's one store is at the Creative Space in St. Paul downtown, and I'm also selling the books by hand. So you can inbox me, of course, or contact me on any social media: Facebook Lamonte Lewis, Instagram Lamonte _ the poet.
Nice.
So
We'll provide some links to that. That'll help people out find you. Yeah, that's great.
yeah, most
That's
definitely.
great.
So yeah, so most definitely you can contact me on those two, of course, But like also you can contact me on that, or you can also get my books at the Creative Space. That's in St. Paul.
Okay,
So
on West 7th, you saying downtown West 7th?
yeah, 218 West 21 oh my God. I think it's 218 West 7th Street, downtown St. Paul, I believe
Okay.
so.
I
It's in
think I
downtown.
know where that space is. Yeah, that's hot. Well, that's awesome. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what you do in the future because you've obviously are. My sister said, "I'm fuego." You're making a lot of great moves, and you will make a difference, and you are making a difference, and that's fun to see. So, thank you for sharing your talents with us.
Yes, no problem. Thank you for the lovely opportunity from both of you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. God bless both of y'all. God put this here right here. I always told myself that I want to, have be on a podcast, and talk about my story and just think about law of attraction. Think about law of attraction, speaking things to existence and manifesting the thing and manifesting to positivity.
Yeah.
And then in law of attraction, and when law of attraction is working, when the things are coming to existence. So I told myself a podcast whatsoever, then just me meeting two beautiful souls. Let me have this opportunity to be on a podcast. So God is good and God is listening and God is good.
Good. Thank you.
No problem.